1 o'clock. The schedule said 1 o'clock. We've got, what, 20 minutes? So, Luke, have at it.
All right. So, hello, if you don't know me, my name is Luke Yerkey. I'm going to talk about my internship that I did this summer. My internship was with Kendrick, and I was working as a CAD operator as well as a survey technician. So, if you don't know, which I'm assuming you don't know who Kendrick Land Surveying is, they're a small land surveying company. Their office is in Bartow. They do land survey work for almost exclusively for Mosaic. They do topographical surveys, conservation easements, ditch and berm surveys, and floodplain analysis for some of the things that we worked on this summer. So things that I was doing for the beginning of the summer, I worked part-time mostly in the office using CAD work, doing checks and different things for the main CAD operators that they have. Then about 2 or 3 weeks into the summer, I was able to get MSHA training, which MSHA is Mine Safety and Health Administration. So anyone that goes on mine property has to have MSHA training. So once I was able to complete that, I was able to spend time in the office doing CAD work as well as in the field actually gathering data. So I was able to split my time basically wherever there was the most need, whether it was in the office or in the field. Also during the summer, we were able to get some very large projects. So the way they work, it lends well to working for 10-hour days. And since we had a surplus of work, they allowed us to work extra on that extra Friday and even a few Saturdays for overtime. So I was able to get 500 plus hours this summer working there. So my learning objectives that I generated with my supervisor, they had not previously had any interns, so we created these for them. The 3 of them were to be able to analyze and comprehend documents pertaining to current projects, demonstrating the ability to gather data and use the data to generate maps and other documents, and as well as creating plots and graphs using CAD. So I'm going to go through each of those in a little bit more detail. So the first one was analyze and comprehend documents pertaining to the current project. So this was one of the projects that we worked on this summer. This darker area that you can see is a conservation easement that Mosaic was creating. Basically, the conservation easement, after they go through and mine the area, they'll go back through and plant trees and different plants and things so that the natural habitat can grow back up. So they'll create those so that they can't go back in and disturb it anymore. That way they have the natural animals and things have a place to live and have some of that habitat. So Mosaic would contract a title company. They would generate the title work for the easements, and then they would give that title work to us, and we would generate these plots so they could see what exceptions affect the area. So this darker area is the conservation easement, and then for this particular exception, this hatched area is the one that would affect the land. My second learning objective was demonstrate the ability to gather data and use that data to generate maps and other documents. This was another project that we worked on this summer, was a ditch and berm as-built. So as-built, engineer or someone would design the ditch and berm and would design how tall it needed to be, how wide it needed to be, so they could contain enough water and move enough water. So these 2 areas on the side would be the berms, and these would be about 10 to 15 feet tall, and you'd be able to drive on top of them. And then down in this middle areas where they would be able to transport water. So the guys in the field would go and take these shots, go through GPS. We would bring that into the CAD software, calculate these slopes, and label all the points, and then be able to generate these. This is just one of the cross sections that we did for this ditch and berm. So then we would give this to Mosaic, and they would check that it was close enough to what they originally designed. This was the third, or another project that we ended up doing, a very large project. This was for a floodplain analysis. So when Mosaic's going to come into a new area, they have to do a floodplain analysis to make sure the area can handle the amount of water that they're going to be putting into the system, and they can see where all the water is going to be flowing. So each one of these tables that you can see is a culvert, so it's one of the it's a pipe that goes under the road. So you can see this one here. These two shots are the shots that they took on the ends of the pipe, so they can see how low the bottom of the pipe is. And then these ones in the middle are going down the center of the road, so they can see the highest point in the road. So they want to know how large the pipe is, how long it is. So you can see this was site C20, and it was 26.6 feet long. And then they can see the lowest points and the highest points associated with that culvert. Some of the lessons that we learned, or that I learned this summer, I was able to use several different CAD packages, a few older and a few newer packages. And I was able to use some that I had never used before, so that was very good for just to broaden my ability to use the different packages. I was able to work in an office for the first time. Up to this point, just had a small part-time job, so this was very helpful for me to see the logistics and different things that go into running an office. And then I was also able to see logistics and processes involved in the actual surveying work and see how that works on the real side, the real world side. So in conclusion, research has shown that there is a strong correlation between students that are involved with their internship programs and the success of recent graduates. So the documentation that I found also said that internships help ease the transition between in-class work and real-world work. So just wanted to thank Kendrick Land Surveying and Polly for giving me this opportunity. And that's my bibliography. Any questions? Yes.
What did you enjoy most about the internship?
I really liked, after I was able to get MSHA training, to see, I was able to work in the field, running the GPS and doing things like that, and then we would take that into the office and then work on it on that side too. So it was really cool for me to see, basically have a hand in it all the way through, like going out to the site, setting up, finding our locations where we're going to take the shots, and then following that all the way through to the finished product that we were able to turn in. Yes.
While you were doing this internship, you were basically after someone's training the entire time you would watch them and they would try to teach you how to do a good job, correct?
Yeah, mostly. For a lot of the stuff I was doing was the same thing over the summer, so definitely at the beginning I was very under someone's wing, but then towards the end I was able to basically work on my own. They gave me a task and I would be able to follow that through, and then we would check it at the end. So everything, just the nature of the work, everything had to be checked multiple times. So I was able to basically work on my own up to the point where we needed someone else to check.
Is this something you could see yourself doing as a career?
I really enjoyed the CAD work that I was doing, and I thought I enjoyed CAD work at the beginning of the summer, and going through it I was able to see that I really do enjoy it. Even once it became a job, it was still fun for me. Do you have a question?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
What software did you use?
They had a couple older softwares. One was mostly Autodesk. So one was Land Survey Desktop 3, I believe, and then Autodesk 2014, I believe, was the other one that we mainly used. Any other questions?